working on this handmade mixed media journal for, I don't know, I guess a couple weeks. Finally came together. You can see I'm calling it Healing 2019. It's just the things that have helped me through a kind of hard time in my life this past year. I've gotten very into crystals, so this is a good way to learn about them, draw them, and then write what their meaning is. And this, by the way, is watercolor ground in a Titan buff color. You'll see some writing on the pages. I was making notes to myself as I worked on this so I'd remember what I used in it. Nature is always a healing thing for me. Flowers. Turquoise. This up here is a silver foil, so it's a little hard to see. More drawings and plants and shadow tracings. The brown is coffee. I really liked the effect on that. Some more crystals and stones. Kind of the story of why I decided to do this journal. Plants, there's some more silver foil and stones. I put this little book in here, which I like, but I think I kind of got it. Anyway, it was a learning process on how to insert it. But more crystals, and then you go like that. Chakras, crystals. So here I tried to do an insert in a different spot, but I just did a card, so I don't know which works. Anyway, jewelry, the orange flower. I love this. A restaurant. Crystals. I did this little drawing on location. And then the back, some sage and another crystal and a little name thing. So I made this little journal just for myself and to work through some new techniques. This is the cover with a tea bag and collage and a silk screen and a colored pencil fern on vellum. I also did some hand stitching. These are some of my more recent acquisitions of gemstones and crystals. They're said to have healing powers, so I thought doing little watercolors of each of the stones and writing their meanings would help me learn about them. On this page, I adhered a used tea bag, and then I think I added a little gesso, maybe, and then just drew and painted watercolor on top. Ink and watercolor with a few splashes. I have quite a few succulent plants, so I really enjoyed drawing and painting those. More succulents. Underneath is collage with probably gesso. This page has an underlayer of collage and gesso, and then on top I drew and painted in watercolor, and then that center flower is just pencil. Part of my collection of turquoise jewelry that I really enjoy drawing and painting in watercolor. And then underneath some ink and gesso and little gold foil and a postage stamp. Here's another page with that coffee stain on it, and then a fern for my garden in ink and watercolor, some continuous line drawings done in colored ink, and then I outlined a shadow on a piece of tissue and glued that down. More of the same on this page, bringing across that turquoise color and those shadow outlines again. More coffee, more jewelry, and more succulents. This page has more of the same with collage and watercolor. I ended up journaling on this page after I was almost finished with this art journal. My husband was in a very serious car accident 9 months ago, and I found myself needing hope and nature and beauty and maybe believing in the power of crystals. Again, collage background, crystals, sage. Here's that little accordion fold book that I tucked into the spine, and as you can see, more crystals and stones and their meanings. On the little accordion book, I stitched on my sewing machine those frames before I went in and drew and journaled about the crystals. And more crystals. And more jewelry. As I mentioned in the video, I did the little scene with the tree and the pot on location, and did a little collage, more crystals, some hand stitching, you can see. And here's the back cover, a sage smudge stick and another little crystal and some hand stitching. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look at my mixed media art journal filled with my sketches and watercolors. Thanks a lot. Jane LaFazio.